Today we're doing something fun. We're painting the door to my shop. And my shop is connected to the house, so when you open the door, it has to be a cool color. And we decided Refurbished Gentleman was gonna be it. Of course, right? But the method, the technique I'm using is why I'm sharing it with you guys. It's gonna be rolling and tipping 1 hour enamel. It's a great technique when you're doing anything that's a large flat surface, whether horizontally or vertically, in this case, which is great for doing doors. So it's something I thought would be fun to share, another technique and another way to go ahead and utilize 1 hour enamel and just show you guys how easy it can be if you know the techniques to do it. So if that's something you're interested in, stay tuned today on Wise Out Paint Party. All right, so not my typical studio backdrop area for this video, but with rolling and tipping, it's great on large flat areas. So of course we're doing my studio door. I wanted to just kind of sit and go over a few things before we get to actual, showing you how to do this, because it's going to go like this. So the actual showing what I'm doing is gonna go really, really fast, and it has to. If you've used 1 hour enamel, it dries really fast. This method is something you need to do really fast. So I just wanna go through first, like what you need, some of the basics of rolling, tipping, or flagging, or laying off, or whatever terminology you might know of this method. I wanted to just talk about it first, and then I'll go into the painting. I'll talk while I'm doing it, but again, it's gonna go really, really fast. So I'm gonna kind of, sort of demonstrate it a little bit here, dry without paint, and then go over it here in a second. So first and foremost, when you're rolling, you need a roller. You can use, regular size or half size, depending on the area you're doing. It's totally up to you, however you wanna do it. I'm pretty sure I'm going to use regular size to get as much of the area as possible, and highly likely I'm going to half it. I'm going to do half the door, leave a wet edge, and then connect that wet edge to the next side, and then do it in 2 sections. And that's kind of a long section to do, and maybe half of it would be probably better, because again, it dries fast and you want to do small areas, but I think I can do it quick enough to really just kind of show you guys exactly how. And I'm stirring my paint because I left it open, so I'm going to make sure it stays good and wet for me. I have 1 hour enamel in Refurbished Gentleman, of course, because it's my shop door. I thought I should use my color, right? So I have that stirred over here. You do not want to shake your 1 hour enamel because it will leave bubbles. Even though we're going to be laying, tipping, flagging, whatever you want to call it, we're going to call it tipping for this video. Because I'm going to be tipping it off, we're going to be getting rid of the bubbles and the bumps. The bubbles aren't going to matter as much, but just to minimize the amount of bubbles that you're going to have in your paint, especially 1 hour enamel, you don't really want to shake it. You want to stir it really good. I found that it doesn't clump at the bottom with 1 hour enamel as much as other paints. You'll just have kind of the color, the pigments rise to the top. So when I popped this open, it was like a bright blue color, and I mixed it and it turned into my beautiful, blue with a hint of gray color. So again, so you need your roller, you need your paint, use 1 hour enamel for doors. It's amazing. If you're doing this method on like large flat areas of furniture and you're using our chalk synthesis paint, you could also use this method if you want to. It's really great with a 1 hour enamel though, because it doesn't have that open time to be able to, lay it flat like maybe the chalk synthesis paint does. And you don't want to spritz water on this. Like if you've seen my other video on how to do a brushstroke free finish, you spritz a little water on the CSP, but this, you don't want to do that. because it has top coat built in. You don't really want to water it down necessarily. So for the tipping part, I'm going to use my B12, and for me, the wider the brush, the better. You just want to be able to go tip it in wide areas and then leave it alone, because the more times you got to go because you have a narrower brush, the more chances are you're leaving brush strokes in there. So, but we'll get to that in a second. So that's what you're going to need. So the long and the short of this thing is we're going to get our roller, and I have a 3/8, yeah, that's how you say that, 3/8 inch nap roller. This is a Wooster Pro. Honestly, when you're rolling and tipping, the roller is not as important as you would think, because you're gonna go back over it with a brush and lay it flat anyway. But this is a 3/8 inch nap roller, in case anybody was wondering. So the big thing about using a roller in this technique is we're gonna get the paint in our tray. We're gonna roll that down into the paint and get an even coat all the way around our roller, and then roll as much of the paint back off and just get a nice, even, thin coat. You don't want drips. It's not like painting your walls where you're just kind of slapping it on. That's not what we're doing here. This is really a different thing. So I want to emphasize that. And as I've been painting the walls of my house, and if you're using our 1 hour ceramic, you just kind of get it on and roll it flat and be good with it, right? Because especially when you have textured walls, you're not really worried about it. That matte finish, it looks amazing. But with this, it's different. It's eggshell. The finish of 1 hour enamel, how exactly you're rolling it on is more deliberate, I guess is the word. So we don't want a ton of paint. We want a thin coat. So if you have to do multiple coats, you'll see how easy this is. If you had to do 3 coats because you did thin coats, I'd rather do 3 thin coats and have it come out flawless than do 2 and have gucky mess going on with the 1 hour enamel. So take your roller, roll it down into the paint, roll it back and forth in your top. And if you have one like this that has dots, that's really good because you can kind of press some of the paint out, get it as even as possible with the least amount of paint as possible. And then we're going to take it to our area. So this technique is really best for large flat areas. And so we're going to take the roller and we're going to roll it up. You could go horizontally too to fill in the area, finish off vertically if that's the directionality that you're going, right? And then put your brush down, get your tipping off brush, and then you're going to gently just lay your brush across it, tipping, flagging, laying off, whatever terminology once again, and just lay it down over the paint. This brush is not to put paint on. This brush is only to tip it off, to flatten it out, to take out the bubbles, to make it look beautiful. So the big thing with this brush is you don't want caked on paint all over this. You want this just specifically to flatten that paint out, right? So if this starts to get caked on, let's say you use too much paint on your roller and your brush itself was getting too much paint, then you're gonna get like a little rag or something and just kind of wipe it off. But you want this to be an even, consistent amount of paint too. So if you do end up getting a little bit on, you just want to make sure that it is even. But I will usually, if I'm tipping off and I have too much paint for whatever reason, I rolled on too much, I'll just wipe a little bit off and wipe it flat and even on whatever rag I'm using. But I mean, once you get the hang of it, you won't have to really worry about that a whole lot. Especially this door this size, I shouldn't have to wipe off my brush at all. But back to the point. So we rolled it on, you tip it off, and it's just nice, gentle. You're not pushing down on the brush. You'll see when I do it in the video, it's gonna be so much a gentle touch that you won't even really see the brush crest and spread, especially one that's a little bit thicker like this one. I'm just gonna go gently across. And then we're gonna, again, keep that wet edge between this side and this side. And I'm gonna go back with my roller. And this, like I said, this is gonna go really fast. I'm gonna roll just to the left. So if my line's here, I'm gonna roll just to the left when I initially roll it on, and then roll this way back into my wet edge. Because if I have too much paint, I don't wanna roll the too much paint part over the part that's already starting to dry. So just to the left of it, we're gonna roll that on, and then we're gonna roll back over my wet edge, right? And do this whole side. And then again, put my roller down, come back with my brush and tip it off. Just gently go up and down, nice fluid motion up and down, and then walk away. And if you've seen any of the videos, mine or otherwise, with 1 hour enamel, it dries really fast. You do not overwork it. If you overwork it, you're gonna have brush strokes. And if brush strokes, you're gonna have to sand and smooth stuff out and fix issues. Don't wanna do that. You wanna just let gravity do its work. So that's the trick, doing this thing vertically, right? So think about how, you know, the gravity of things work. So if you're brush stroking something on a flat surface, the paint that has the little ridges from the brush strokes has an opportunity to flatten and lay flat. And with 1 hour enamel, it does it beautifully, like amazingly well. All of our paints do, but 1 hour enamel, with that eggshell finish, you can really see how much it flattens out on a horizontal surface. But you think about it vertically, if we're just rolling this on and leaving it, the gravity is going this way. It's not flattening out this way. So we want to help it as much as possible, right? So we want to be able to get as much paint on as we can, knowing it's going to have bumps and bubbles from this guy. And then we're going to tip it off with this guy to lay it as flat as possible without adding more paint, just flattening it out, and then let gravity do its work from there. And from there, it'll flatten and it'll look beautiful. And then you get that beautiful eggshell finish, you'll get the color you want, you get the coverage you want, and it'll look amazing. But the big thing for this is thin coats. So maybe when you're doing something horizontally, you can give a little bit. Like I can brush on 1 hour enamel on a horizontal surface, a large surface, and not have any problems really, because gravity's going to do its work, all that kind of stuff. This is just different, and this is another way, especially since 1 hour enamel is great on doors. Another just technique that I wanted to share, give folks another idea of how to use 1 hour enamel besides brushing. We'll have another video though on how to brush on 1 hour enamel, and I'll tag that in this video as soon as that's available. So that's pretty much the long and short of it. You're gonna have your paint roller just like you're doing your walls at your house. Little paint tray, make sure you have the little dots, and that just helps press and push the paint off so you don't have a lot, okay? And then you're going to roll it, do a small area, and you can do horizontally like this. Well, I like to finish vertically just because, you know, it's going with the directionality of the door kind of thing. But you can go horizontally to ensure you get in all the areas, and then vertically to finish. And then get in there with your brush, tip it off, and you'll have the wet edge. You go to the right of the wet edge with the next roll, and then roll back into your wet edge, and then come back with your brush once again and tip it off, and then walk away. And you're gonna see, like I said, it's gonna go fast, 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 because if you overwork this stuff while it's drying, you're absolutely 100% gonna have brush strokes. When I first started using this stuff, I tested and played and did all kinds of things, and I could tell you that I overworked it. Just got that chalk synthesis paint in my brain of how I could just work it and work it and work it, work it, spritz, work it, work it. You cannot do that with 1 hour enamel. So you wanna ensure that you kind of know, I guess that's why we're doing these videos. So you kind of know ahead of time how this stuff works, how to do it the right way. Maybe play and practice like I did when I first get products. Get a sample board, you know, practice this technique real quick just to see how it all works out, and then take it to your door. Heaven forbid you take it to your door piece and you're not really 100% confident in what you're doing, and then you mess it up. So this video will be fun. I'm really excited because I can't wait to paint this on my door. Right now we have the dark gray primer, as you can see. I did 2 coats. I brushed it on with my B12, and as you can see, brush down beautifully. A lot of the texture you see is from the previous people, the previous painters, the painters who painted this house, the new house that we're in now, did not do a very good job. So there's lots of brush strokes everywhere, and yeah, but I'm not too worried about that. But our gray primer went on pretty well, just brushing on, which I'm very happy with. But with 1 Hour Enamel, if you're new to it, you must use a primer. So it doesn't have those adhesion qualities that our chalk synthesis paint does, because it's a different style paint than an enamel paint. So primer, paint, wait an hour, come back, do a second coat and a third if necessary. With Refurbished Gentleman, it covers really, really well because it has that gray to it. So I'm probably only gonna have to do 2 coats. But because we're doing the rolling tipping method, it's usually 2 to 3, depending on, because you want to do thin coats. So that's very, very important. You don't want to roll this stuff on and have it dripping and all that stuff like you would on a wall, where you can just kind of constantly paint over it, paint over it, paint over it, paint over it with your roller to get those drips and stuff like that. It's not, you can't do that with this. It's going to dry too fast. So you're going to roll, tip, move on, roll, tip, move on. And a lot of, if you watch any videos, the experts in this field with rolling and tipping seem to be boats. And it's really unique to watch other, I don't know, genres or whatever you want to call it, painters and their techniques and they use and stuff like that. And a lot of painters that do boats use rolling and tipping, and they have 2 people that do it when they're going down the side of a boat. So if that tells you anything, because you want to roll and tip right away, roll and tip right away. So again, there's going to be a little less talking. That's why I really wanted to explain it before I even get into it, of what I'm doing and how, because once I get going, I'm going to talk a little bit, but I'm not going to stop and show you and all that kind of stuff exactly what I'm doing, because I explained it already. So I'm going to just kind of get it done. I will do both coats with you guys. So I will roll and tip and then roll and tip, and then we'll be done. That's the other amazing part about 1 Hour Enamel, is I can paint and walk away and it's done. No top coating necessary with 1 Hour Enamel. So I'm very excited about that, because after the priming, I just got 2 coats of paint, which are gonna go really fast, and then I'm done. My door will be beautiful, and I'll try to see if I can figure out how to put this doorknob back on. Wish me luck. So that's gonna be it for now. I'm gonna pour the paint in. We're gonna get started. So the next video is gonna be rolling and tipping. So I got my roller, and as you can see, it's not dripping. It's just enough to cover the roller, and that's it. And I'm gonna start down here at the bottom. I'm just gonna roll it on up. We're gonna do half the door, like I said. So I'm gonna go about halfway. And I definitely need to get a little bit more paint on my roller. So I'm gonna go back to my roller, just get a little bit more on there. I went a little bit too light, I think. And then I'm gonna go side to side. And again, I'm gonna move fast. Side to side to fill in. So go vertically, then horizontally, it looks like probably gonna be the best, because this is kind of a big area I'm doing all at one time. Normally you do about half of that. So I'm gonna roll this in here. And knowing I'm gonna do 2 coats, I'm not too terribly concerned if I miss a spot here or there, but I'm definitely gonna do this quickly. I'm gonna go back vertically to fill it in, anything I need to fill in. And then there's gonna be my wet edge right there. So I'm gonna put my roller down, take my brush, and I'm going to gently, oh so gently, tip this off all the way down. Just like so. And again, working fairly quickly. Like so. Okay, that looks beautiful. Go down. And with this B12, it basically took three widths of the brush to cover that whole area. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I'm not gonna mess with it no more. I'm gonna come back to my roller. It looks like I need a little bit more paint in my tray. Okay, and again, you gotta hustle through this, so I'm trying to hurry myself here. Okay, I'm gonna get it on my roller, nice and even. That's the biggest part. You don't want like big gloppy parts on one side of your roller and not so much on your other. So I'm gonna go, okay, so there's my edge. I'm gonna go just to the right of the edge, or to the left, I mean. All right, like that. I'm gonna roll back into my wet edge here in a second once I roll off some of this paint. How awesome is that color? Love it. Okay, I'm gonna go horizontally. I'm still not gonna roll into my wet edge just yet. Like I said, I'm not gonna talk as much through this one. I mean, you kind of have the idea now, right? You go vertically, horizontally, vertically, however you choose to do it. Just do it quick, whatever you're gonna do. Now this looks beautiful already with this nap roller. I don't really see a lot of bubbles with the nap roller, which is awesome. So, okay, that looks good. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back vertically and roll over my wet edge ever so slightly here, just so I can combine the two together as best as I can here. Put my roller over as much of that as I can in there. And again, we're gonna do 2 to 3 thin coats. So if your spots you're seeing that I'm missing, don't you worry. The second and or third coat, we'll get that. But you can see the kind of bumps and ridges that the roller will leave. Hard to get rid of on a vertical surface, but we tip it off. So we're gonna go to our wet edge first because that's the area that's already starting to want to dry, because that was the part that's been on there the longest. Just gonna gently let our brush do all the work. We're not adding paint with our brush. We're just tipping the paint that's already there. I love this color. Okay, also gently, all the way down, all the way up. Going down is just easier. The amazing weight of the brush does all the work. It's one of the things about Cling On brushes is the weight is made the way it's made for a reason, to allow the brush to do a lot of the work of the tug and pull or pushing, whatever it is you're trying to do with your brush. So I'm gonna come back up along this edge one last time, and then we're gonna be done. I'm not gonna touch this thing again. Boom, just like that. Now I'm gonna step over here and take a look. Looks pretty great to me. For one coat, what did that take me? 3 minutes, I think, right? And it's looking really good. So now we're just gonna let gravity do its work and flatten all this out as best as it can. So if we did really thick coats and laid it down with those brush strokes that you see right now would be so much harder to flatten, especially on a vertical surface, because it's vertical, it's not laying down like with gravity, right? So we wanna do those thin coats and then tip it off and allow it to flatten as best as it can. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna leave it like this. And a lot of what I see that's starting to dry is the bumps that were from below. I really love it. This color looks amazing. It's gonna look great. I think we're gonna do our walls 1 hour ceramic in iconic gray, which I think will be great because it's gonna kind of frame in this door when I have my door open. So that's gonna be it. Again, I'm gonna do a close-up and I'll put it up here. I think if I'm looking at the video right, it's gonna be up here of a close-in shot of me doing exactly this. So it'll probably be like this section right here. So you can kind of see, again, just closer in the rolling, how it looks rolled with the 3/8 nap. It didn't really have a whole lot of bubbles that I could see any really, but that's what you're getting rid of when you're doing this. You're getting rid of bubbles and the bumps. So, you know, you roll, it just has bumps. You know, it's just kind of hard to really flatten out from the way the roller rolls the paint on. Now on a horizontal surface, it will flatten pretty good with just the roller. You'd be very, very surprised. But for a vertical surface, it's a little bit more difficult because it doesn't have that gravity to help it. So we're giving it a little tipping to assist it here. So it's pretty cool. I'm excited. I have been wanting to paint this door for a while. So, but this will be it. Again, I'll have a little video up in the corner that I'll probably keep pointing at through this whole time of an enclosed version. But that's all there is to it for rolling and tipping. And there you have it, rolling and tipping. So, did that make you want to try it? Maybe, maybe, maybe. You have a door in your house that's not the right color. You'd love to pick one of our amazing Hour Enamel colors and try. If you do, please find your local Owl retailer near you. I'll have a link below that'll help you find that. And I really hope you enjoyed this. It was a fun one to do. Really excited to get that doorknob back on. Maybe, hopefully. We'll see, and get this project finished. Hope you guys try it. If you do, please tag us, rolling and tipping Owl paint, something fun so we can find your projects and see what you did. Thanks so much for supporting the channel. Please hit the subscribe button and like this video and share. If you know somebody out there that's looking for how can I paint my door to my house or paint some other large vertical or horizontal surface for that matter in Hour Enamel, please share this video. Us getting the shares is really helping us reach more people with this free content to learn how to paint, whether now it's furniture, walls, or doors in your house. So that's it for today. Hope everybody has a blessed day, and as always, happy painting.